a reason to fight.
Scripture here. But the Lord said to Gideon, the people are still too many. So now they're at 10,000. And God's saying, hey, you still got too many people. Bring them down to the water, and I will test them for you there. And I'm thinking, man, Gideon's going to be like, you got to be kidding me, God. I don't want any more of your tests, God. I'm good with all your tests, God. No more. And God's saying, nope, there's still way too many people. So, all right, now we're here still in verse 4. Then it will be that of whom I say to you, this one shall go with you, the same shall go with you. And of whomever I say to you, this one shall not go with you, the same shall not go. So he brought the people down to the water, and the Lord said to Gideon, everyone who laps from the water with his tongue, as a dog laps, you shall set apart by himself. Likewise, everyone who gets down on his knees to drink, and the number of those who lapped, putting their hand to their mouth, was 300 men. But all the rest of the people got down their knees to drink water. Then the Lord said to Gideon, by the 300 men who lapped, I will save you, and deliver the Midianites into your hand. Let all the other people go, and every man to his place. So the people took provisions and their trumpets in their hands, and he set them away for the rest of Israel, every man to his tent, and retained those 300 men. Now the camp of Midian was below him in the valley. So you go from 32,000 to 300. That's you don't get much worse odds than that, right? And so here you have 300 men. But to me, the test here is very interesting. You had one where fear separated the army, right? Because again, this was about God's story. And if we want to be part of God's story, fear is not going to be part of God's story. Fear turned around, right? Then you have these next guys coming in, and this is a test that I've studied out since I was a kid. I remember being so interested in this test since I was a Christian growing up. Since I was in high school, I've studied this scripture out over and over and over again. And because it's fascinating to me that this test that took place where God told 9,700 men to turn away. And here these are men that are tired. They had more than, more army, right? 3/4 of the army turn away and leave. And now they're here, and now they're getting some rest, right? As they're marching, they're going to a river to drink, and that was the test. To go, how are they going to drink? Was the test. How are they going to drink? Which wasn't really the test. The test, in my opinion, from my studying, is the test of awareness. It was the test of awareness. So here you had guys that would go down, right? And so picture this: the river right here. You have the river, and go down and get down on both knees and perhaps just put their face in there, whatever, and drink all the water up, whatever, because they're thirsty. They've been marching and doing all this. They're drinking all up, and so that's what most of the guys did: stuck their head in the water or went down on both knees and just grabbed all the water there. But the 300 guys, what they did was that most of them either took a knee. When you look at the scholars and what they talk about, they took a knee and they grabbed it with one hand, right, and took it up, and they said lapped it like a dog, where they would lap it from their hand. It's kind of silly to do it, but anyway, just to give the effect, because I want us to understand what was taking place, they literally lapped it from their hand and drank it that way. Now, what's the difference? Look at it for a second. The difference of putting your head down in the water versus bringing it up to your mouth. There's an awareness. There's an awareness that your eyes are still open. They said, some of the scholars say that the men still had a sword in their hand, so they didn't have to let down the sword in their hand. Their sword could still be in their hand with one hand going down. That means they were still ready in case the enemy came on them in the midst of their moment of refreshment. Right? They were still had an awareness about them of the purpose and the mission that they were on, even though they were in a moment of pause. Right? In that moment of pause, they were still able to have their eyes to be able to look around while they're taking in refreshment. So yes, put the parallel, put the 2 and 2 together right there, right? Right now, what is it that we're going to refreshment for? Right? What is it? Maybe it's, like I said, maybe it's an idol. Maybe it's not an idol. Maybe it's something of vitality for your life or for your family right now. Here's my question. Are we still aware of God, the purpose, the army, the march that we're on right now? Are we still aware? The purpose of this was not just to be aware of God, but to be aware of the purpose of what they were doing and to realize that there is a real enemy and that we need to be aware of. There's the flesh that can move as well. And so are we losing our disciplines during this moment in time, or are disciplines staying in place? Right? In the moment when everyone else can go away, and this is something that I struggle with, okay? That, man, God, no one else is doing this. No one else is doing that, God. Can I get a break here? Or, man, God, I feel like I deserve this, God. Like, God, man, I just need this time to do this right here. And I just want to stick my face in and just close my eyes to the rest of the world for that moment in time. And that, I'm sure as I'm saying it sounds great, like, oh yeah, that sounds really good, right? It sounds great just to lose focus inside of the world just for that moment and just do that. But it's in those moments where I believe God was looking for those that would be aware All right, focused on God, but aware of the enemy, as we talked about in the past couple weeks, aware of the enemy and aware of the flesh. And so I believe this was a test of awareness right here that took place. And all of a sudden now 300 were left, but it was through those 300 that were not afraid, that had courage and strength, right, to go, that had confidence in God, but likewise had an awareness or focus on God and an awareness of their surroundings and the enemy. That here God was going to use them.